From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, a small but mighty group standing up against deportation flights.
It's either sit at home, be depressed and scared, or go out and do something and change the world.
How their fight is making a difference. Plus, the head of the San Francisco Zoo is not backing down despite calls to resign.
She's got the skin of an elephant. This doesn't bother her at all.
Details on the controversy up next, and finding reasons to celebrate despite a challenging year.
We're all in this together, and we've got to get out there and be strong.
A look at this year's 55th Pride Parade in San Francisco. Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Andrea Nakano. Brian Hackney has the night off, and we begin with breaking news. In northwest Idaho, at least 2 people are dead in what is still an active shooter situation. Firefighters responding to a brush fire in the northwestern part of the state, only to be reportedly ambushed by at least 1 gunman. Law enforcement is currently taking fire and attempting to evacuate other civilians off the mountain. Here's the sheriff of Cooley County about 90 minutes ago.
So at approximately 1:21 p.m. this afternoon, we received reports of a fire on the east side of Canfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon, it was reported that firefighters were receiving shots fired at them. We now have 2 deaths. We have an unknown amount of casualties. We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. So this is a very, very fresh situation.
As for the fire, it is still burning. Firefighters really can't start the firefighting process until that area is secured. Now, this video was taken less than an hour ago, shows smoke still coming from the mountain. A shelter in place is in effect for neighboring areas, and CBS has just confirmed the FBI is now assisting local law enforcement in that area. Again, this is a developing story, and we will continue to bring you the details as information comes into our newsroom. In Santa Rosa, protesters were at the Charles M. Schulz Airport over budget carrier Avelo Airlines and its federal contract to operate deportation flights for the Trump administration. John Ramos with more on how the protests are keeping some people and planes grounded.
Weekend protests have become a regular activity, especially here in Sonoma County. And one thing you can say about Donald Trump, he may not be making a lot of friends in the Bay Area, but he certainly is creating a lot of activists.
Standing out here in a public place and in the sun on my free time when there's more fun things to do than this, but you know, you got to stand up, got to say what you stand for.
Tamara Mucka has attended hundreds of protests, but this is only her second time on Airport Boulevard in Santa Rosa. A local activist group has been holding a sidewalk vigil every Sunday for more than 2 months. It's because Charles Schulz Airport is one of the hubs of Avelo Airlines, a small air carrier that has accepted a lot of money from the Department of Homeland Security to transport undocumented immigrants out of the country.
And this company that has taken a $150 million contract to participate in that. I think business owners and retirees like myself, and even people coming by and honking the horns, you know, we all have a part to play.
The company's CEO acknowledged the deal, saying, quote, "We realize this is a sensitive and complicated topic. After significant deliberations, we determined this charter flying will provide us with the stability to continue expanding our core scheduled passenger service and keep our more than 1,100 crew members employed for years to come," end quote. But it's not doing much to expand business in Sonoma County. The airport released numbers that show Avelo has seen a 32% drop in ridership, while Alaska and American have increased their passenger load. No one can say for sure if the protests are having an effect on that.
Well, they're only flying a couple of connecting flights out of here anymore. So what they say is that this is unrelated, but, you know, it's awful coincidental.
Either way, the airport demonstrations are giving people a chance to express their concerns about the direction of the country. A man named Steve from Petaluma says protests and boycotts may be the only power the people have in the fight.
I've been to probably in the last 6 or 8 weeks 30-odd protests. We've noted that there's been first-timers at a lot of these actions. It's a watershed period in history, and we're watching our democracy slip away with the rule of law and what's coming out of the White House.
It's either sit at home, be depressed and scared, or go out and do something and change the world.
Does it take 1 million people at a rally to do that, or can just a handful of people on a street corner do the same thing?
I think a handful. Yeah.
Why?
Because we're all connected. Each little handful is another drop in the bucket.
Does it feel good to be a drop?
Yeah, it does.
But at the airport, a man named Jimmy from Willits, who supports the president, said he doesn't even understand why people are protesting at all.
Why are they protesting it? People are in the country illegally. They're getting deported. That's how it should be. Come legally. And they shouldn't be here illegally. Deport them. So, they should buy the tickets anyway. Support that airline.
Currently, Avilo operates few passenger flights out of the airport. But now that they're focusing on the charter flight business, they can probably expect a welcoming committee out on the street for some time to come.
The airline says it is basing its international deportation flights out of Mesa, Arizona. Those transported from the Sonoma County Airport would connect to that location. We turn now to the San Francisco Zoo and some turmoil at the top. Mayor Daniel Lurie reportedly wants a change of leadership, but SF Zoo CEO Tanya Peterson said she has no plans to step down. Dahlin has more on the controversy.
At the zoo entrance, many visitors say they know nothing about the political infighting or efforts to remove the CEO. They just want what's best for the zoo. For many young families, the San Francisco Zoo is a place where kids can learn about animals, explore nature, and burn off energy. That's partly why the Bernier family makes a monthly trip from San Bruno.
At least once a month, maybe twice a month. We love the zoo. We've got a guest pass. We have the kiddos, 1.5 to 3.5.
Dad Drew Bernier says their positive experience keeps them coming back.
I've never felt not safe at the zoo.
But critics argue the zoo is unsafe, not just for visitors, but also for workers and the animals. They point to longtime CEO Tanya Peterson as the problem. The union, representing many workers, recently voted no confidence in her leadership. On Friday, Mayor Daniel Lurie released a statement saying in part, "I am confident that stable, permanent leadership will strengthen the zoo and our city's ability to welcome pandas, and the zoo board's decision to identify a new COO and develop a plan to name a new CEO represent real steps in the right direction." But zoo spokesperson Sam Singer says Peterson has no plans to step down.
She has always said that she would resign if it was in the best interest of the zoo, but no one has asked her to resign, nor has she offered her resignation. She's plowing full speed ahead to try to bring the giant pandas to San Francisco.
At Sunday's Pride celebration, the mayor declined to answer specific questions about efforts to remove Peterson.
We're going to talk to the zoo board in the coming days. More to come on that one.
Would it be better for her to leave with the zoo?
We'll talk over the next couple of days.
Only the zoo board has the authority to fire Peterson. Some board members recently tried but failed.
She's got the skin of an elephant. This doesn't bother her at all. It's like water off her back. She's going to keep doing what's right for the kids and families in San Francisco.
Like most visitors, the Bernier family was unaware of the political turmoil. From a visitor's perspective, everything appears normal.
We come here for the zoo, and you wouldn't know that there was anything outside that's, that's creating tension, because the zoo is always the same and always fun.
The zoo spokesman says right now Peterson is focused on the giant panda exhibit. The hope is they'll have a pair of pandas from China next year.
And here are some other headlines we are following around the Bay Area. Apple is doubling down on its real estate presence in the South Bay. Public filings reveal Apple spent over $500 million just this week on office properties in Silicon Valley. A 2-building campus in Sunnyvale and a 3-building office in Cupertino were converted from leases to outright ownership. New data shows BART is winning on the weekends. Ridership on the average Saturday in 2025 increased 14% year over year. On Sundays, ridership rose about 8%. BART officials said an increased police presence and as well as train and station cleanliness are behind the surge. And you could soon be paying more at the pump. Starting Tuesday, California's excise tax will increase by about 2 cents, and stricter rules on the state's low-carbon fuel standard go into effect. We spoke to drivers in the East Bay about the increase, and let's just say they were not happy about it.
I'm just very disappointed. We're disappointed with the prices.
You gotta ride, you gotta get places. I'm not gonna, have to pay. That's all we can do.
So how much will a gallon go for? It's unclear, but a report out of UC Davis estimates about an 8 to 9 cent increase. Oakland International Airport could be getting a new name if the Port of Oakland's plan goes through. The airport will be called the Oakland San Francisco Bay Airport, and the port announced they would be giving the airport this new moniker as a way to appeal to travelers who may not know about Oakland's proximity to other major cities in the region. Many Oakland travelers are not convinced that this is the right move. Take a look.
This is Oakland, San Francisco is San Francisco. San Francisco Airport is San Francisco. This is Oakland Airport. I rest my case.
This change is not for the city of Oakland or the Oakland Airport.
Nothing will be decided until the Port Board's next meeting, which is scheduled for July 10th.
Okay, quick look at the forecast here because we are heading into the week that's going to have the 4th of July in it. And every time we get to this point in summer, the big question is always, what's the fog going to do? I want to show you that for the 4th of July. I also want to get you ready for what it's going to do this week. You take a look at what the clouds have been doing up there so far today. But here's a sneak peek. It's the 4th of July forecast. Right now, it will likely be cloudy to a degree. And I'll show you why in the full forecast. This could go either way on the 4th of July. We could have one of those shows where you just see colorful clouds as the marine layer is going to be a bit too much. Or there is a chance, because of the system we're going to look at in the complete forecast in a few minutes, that the whole thing might get scoured away. We could get clear skies, and I'll show you what I mean by that coming up in a bit. For right now, the takeaway, as it is every year when you're 5 days out, 50-50 chance. We're usually really good within about a 24 to 36-hour window for narrowing down what the likelihood is in terms of seeing any of that fog blocking the show. Let's come back real quickly. Here's your forecast for Monday. The fog's going to fill in the morning, and then it will melt back to the beaches by the time we get to the afternoon, and I'll just leave you with the daytime highs. This is the start of your week, but these numbers are going to repeat a lot throughout the week, except for Friday, because it will be noticeably cooler on the 4th, and I'll show you that coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes. For now, Andrea, back to you.
We had beautiful weather today. San Francisco is capping off Pride Month with its 55th annual Pride Parade. It's one of the biggest in the country. Our chopper flew over the massive crowds earlier today. Organizers say the celebration draws in nearly 1 million people each year. And this year's theme being Queer Joy is Resistance. Max Darrow has more from this morning's parade and why this year organizers feel it's more important than ever to be seen.
Vibrance, joy, and a sense of authenticity seen and felt along Market Street in San Francisco on Sunday.
Thank you so much!
The parade, the exclamation point on year 55 of San Francisco's Pride celebration. A special experience for first-timers.
It's amazing, and it's amazing to see how people embrace themselves and who they love.
It's so fantastic to get to see all the joy.
And it remains one for those who've come year after year.
35 years. Wow.
It's estimated the SF Pride celebration draws more than 1 million people from all over the world.
We're here all the way from Indiana, loving every bit of it.
Evan Moore came from Sacramento for his first Pride.
It's very emotionally moving to see all the people that care about each other.
Each year, Pride has a theme that serves as a unifying message and reflection of the social and political climate of the time. This year's theme, Queer Joy is Resistance, a message that resonated with many along the parade route on Sunday.
This year is really important for people, the community, to be out and say, you know, we're all in this together, and we've got to get out there and be strong.
Hey, happy Pride, and keep fighting for your rights and speaking up, because it's really important to represent our community.
Tie it all together. The theme, the colorful displays of collective strength, and the joy.
We love every second of it. It's great. Community full of love. Can't get better than that.
Celebrating, honoring, and lifting up the LGBTQ plus community with every step down Market Street.
What next? Values over profit. Why San Francisco bookstore is pulling a popular children's series from its shelves. A local bookstore in San Francisco's Castro district is joining the trend of pulling the Harry Potter series off the shelves. Author J.K. Rowling has faced controversy over her anti-trans stance. Here's more on that decision.
So I write children's books myself. And that one.
Marcus Ewert with Fabulosa Books on Castro Street is also an accomplished author.
This was my very first one in 2008. It was the first kids book to have any sort of transgender content, let alone a transgender kid main character.
Ewert says while the book 10,000 Dresses has been embraced by the queer community, it has been banned and challenged by others. So the decision to take J.K. Rowling's series of Harry Potter books off the shelf wasn't taken lightly.
And normally they would have been right there.
Ewert says he did what he felt was right to him.
Setting an example of there are things to resist and choices to make, actions to take, and we all need more courage right now.
The idea originally came from Booksmith on Haight Street. The owners would not talk on camera, but sent over a statement saying they sell a number of titles by authors they don't agree with, but this case was different because Rowling has pledged to fund legislation and campaigns they say would hurt the trans community. Camden Avery, the co-owner of Booksmith, wrote, "We're one private business making a decision to align our business practice with our own values and our customers' values. The freedom to do which, if I'm honest, is one of the most rewarding parts of operating as a truly independent bookstore." Fabulosa Books says it couldn't agree more.
Seeing that people were like, no, this is important, somebody took a stand, it's like, okay, well actually then, yeah, we want to be counted too. So it's not just one lone bookstore.
Some on social media have criticized the bookstore's actions, saying that it's equivalent to banning books. Ewert says this is just a show of solidarity to stand for the community he serves.
It's so much better to use language to broaden people's hearts, broaden the world, all that, and not to condemn and vilify.
All right, we got a number of things to talk about that's coming our way in the forecast this week. One of them, the marine layer's coming back. It could impact the 4th of July. I want to show you how that may or may not go. There is also a small concern for some fire weather on the northern third of the state. Really as early as like in the next 2 days, and I want to show you how this is all tied together. First of all, take a look at us today. We're watching the marine layer build in. Let's get a high look down here at the bay, because the first thing I want you to see is how far the marine layer is going to build back in tonight. This is your Monday morning, and there's not a lot of it. So we'll have some of it. We'll wake up with a little bit of the clouds and a little bit of fog near the coast tomorrow morning, but it melts back quickly. And I want you to see what happens on Tuesday. Let's take it from Monday morning, melt it back into Monday afternoon. There's plenty of sunshine. This is now Tuesday morning. Come on over here. Take a look at how widespread the fog is. It's filling in most of the immediate bay. It's getting down here through the South Bay. It's filling in the contours of the North Bay up there. Tuesday morning, all of a sudden, we're going to see more of the marine layer, and it will cool the daytime highs a little more over the course of the first couple of days of this week. In fact, if we take a look at where we'll be, let's get some daytime highs on here. This is where we'll be tomorrow. This is essentially where we'll be like Monday through Wednesday. These numbers are a little bit cooler, but they're going to get noticeably cooler on Friday. If you take these numbers here as basically your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, look what happens when we switch those numbers out and replace it with where we're going to be by the end of the week. On Friday, 4th of July, there's a lot more yellow on here, and the numbers are lower. So the first thing I want you to see for a Friday, 4th of July. Go ahead and pick out your part of the bay. Those are the daytime highs. Let's pick out a couple of spots if we can. Let's get up to the North Bay there. Low to mid 70s on Friday. Inland East Bay, Concord you'll go to 79. Livermore will do 74. And we are working our way down to the South Bay. So San Jose, your temperatures will be in the low to mid 70s. Okay, so that covers the cool down. What we want to do now is draw your attention to the forecast imagery over here, because there are two things we need to discuss in terms of what's coming our way this week. The first one is not only that the marine layer is going to deepen, but at the same time, in addition to that, we might see a little bit of an opportunity for isolated thunderstorms on the northern third of the state. You don't see anything on the regular satellite when you look at it this way. Even when we switch and look at the infrared, you still don't see what's driving this. But when we look at it on the water vapor, you can see what's going on down here. Watch this little counterclockwise spin. And when we put the point source on there for energy, the deeper the color of red on here shows you where there's more counterclockwise spin. In other words, this is a way to pick out where an area of low pressure is about to develop. See what just happened there? So it's not like that's going to be a significant storm in itself. What we're looking at here is just the center of where that low pressure area is. That's why the marine layer is going to deepen, point number one. But that's also then going to be able to spark some thunderstorms in the northern third of the state as it passes. That's point number two, and you'll see that in 1 second on the Futurecast, but I just wanted you to see what's driving all of this. And then on Friday, when we get even cooler and cloudier, here comes the next area of low pressure. That's going to come in on Friday, and that's the one that will have the impact on the 4th of July. So again, if we look at it now in terms of what the atmosphere will actually be doing as a result of that, there's Tuesday. That's when that area of low pressure comes directly overhead. It deepens the marine layer, meaning it lets it get a lot taller, and it can get farther inland. Tuesday's the day we wake up with much more June gloom and gray skies. But look what then happens on Tuesday afternoon. So now we know that area of low pressure that we saw that's going to be over the state not only deepens the marine layer, but it also provides a little bit of energy to spark some thunderstorms on the northern third of the state. That might get as far south as maybe the Mendocino County, Sonoma County line. Very small chance. It'd be isolated, but we don't like to see thunderstorms on a landscape now that is very dry, and that's kind of what we've already got. So that's the concern from that aspect of that weather. Let's get into the 7-day forecast, show you what this looks like, because I just want to touch on your Friday and the 4th of July with one other added element to this. Take a look at the 7-day. There's Friday. Coolest day on there, because if that area of low pressure comes on, it brings the temperatures down a little bit. But it could also deepen the marine layer as it moves overhead. Or sometimes areas of low pressure like that scour all of the marine layer away. It's too early to say exactly what that one's going to do on Friday. The takeaway from this is 4th of July, right now, we've got about a 50-50 chance that the clouds play a role in the fireworks display. And that is the forecast you would get every year, 6 to 7 days out for the 4th of July. We'll get much better within 24 to 36 hours of Friday in giving you that forecast for how good the visibility will be for fireworks, especially the Pier 39 show. Right now, it's like a 50-50 chance. Stay tuned. All right, Andrea, over to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Coming up, the A's are one step closer to first pitch in Las Vegas. How former A's fans are reacting to the groundbreaking of a new stadium. Turning now to other sports news, 49ers cornerback Deommodore Lenoir was arrested in Los Angeles this week. He was booked on a charge of resisting arrest. LAPD says Lenoir and another man were double parked and blocking the street. Officers approached the car and spotted a firearm. When they asked for the keys, the two reportedly played keep away. Lenoir was released on Friday. The 49ers say they are aware of the matter and are looking into it. The Oakland Roots and the Seoul Sports Club now have a permanent home at their former Raiders training facility. The soccer teams just signed a 15-year lease to continue using the facility. It's a $24 million deal that will financially benefit the city of Oakland and Alameda County. A more bitter than sweet week for A's fans in the Bay Area. The Athletics are out of Oakland, and this week a step closer to their new permanent home in Las Vegas. Our Amanda Harry checked in with the former fans of how they're feeling about the groundbreaking.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's something many former Oakland Athletics fans dreamed of. Shovels in the ground, the first step in building a new stadium. But it wasn't happening in Oakland. Monday, it started in Las Vegas.
There's no wrong way for a fan to deal with this. This is like it's like losing a loved one. There's no wrong way to grieve.
Carl Morin is co-founder of The Last Dive Bar, a group that creates apparel celebrating the Oakland Coliseum, the A's home for 57 years. He was a lifelong A's fan. Morin's father had season tickets before he was even born.
As soon as I even knew what was going on, we were going to A's, Warriors, and Raiders games all the time.
But he's not supporting the A's anymore.
I am not a fan of the team. I don't really care what the team does on the field.
Another now former fan and president of Save Oakland Sports, Christopher Dobbins, echoed his sentiment.
Super upset at the A's leadership for leaving. Also, it's kind of upsetting the city of Oakland didn't really get it together to make it happen.
Dobbins isn't following the team at all, but Morin can't help but watch the progress of the move.
Groundbreakings also happen without the actual thing getting built. I think the German word is Schadenfreude, which is when you are kind of, enjoying someone else's downfall. And there seems to be a lot of hiccups along the way.
He does think it will happen eventually, but he questions the cost and the time frame. A's owner John Fisher says he's heard those questions.
I mean, we've had a lot of, people here in Vegas and elsewhere who are cheering us on as well. And these projects are difficult. It's understandable that people are like, why isn't this open yesterday?
Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo was also at the groundbreaking, supporting the effort.
To me, it's economic drivers, it's jobs.
At this point, Morin hopes it happens because he's tired of seeing his team in limbo.
When there's all these questions that are kind of floating around and unanswered and a lot of uncertainty, it kind of makes it can give you hope. And, and like that movie Shawshank Redemption, like hope can drive a man crazy. And I think that in some ways it's like, just put the nail in the coffin. Let's get this thing over with.
Well, coming up, the latest on Capitol Hill after President Trump's spending bill passed a key hurdle.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. Here are some top stories happening nationally. Taking a live look now at Capitol Hill in D.C., where Mr. Trump's big, beautiful bill continued to be discussed in the Senate. The bill moved one step closer to passage last night, but the Senate is not expected to formally vote until Monday. CBS News' Willie James Inman has the latest.
On Capitol Hill, the Senate continues to hash out President Trump's so-called one big, beautiful bill.
The yeas are 51, the nays are 49. The motion is agreed to.
In a 51-49 vote, the Republican-led Senate advanced the bill late Saturday after an hours-long vote, moving it one step closer to passage. Two Republican senators, Tom Tillis of North Carolina and Rand Paul of Kentucky, joined Democrats in opposing advancement of the bill. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer forced a reading of the entire 900-plus page legislation, delaying what is expected to be hours of debate. There is not expected to be a vote on the bill until Monday. The legislation extends tax cuts from President Trump's first term, removes taxes on tips and overtime, and increases spending for defense and border security. Opponents of the bill argue it would make significant cuts to Medicaid and food stamp programs. On Sunday's Face the Nation, members of Congress had differing views of the bill.
You can put as much lipstick on this pig as you want. This will be a political albatross for the Republicans.
Why?
Because it takes 16 million Americans off of health care coverage with cuts to Medicaid and cuts to the Obamacare marketplace.
Are you going to vote again for final passage if it looks like this?
What I'm voting for is a border security measure, $80 billion, $12 billion to reimburse states like mine. I'm voting for $150 billion that will go to our Department of Defense.
The president has repeatedly told Congress he wants to see his big, beautiful bill passed by the 4th of July.
There are conflicting reports regarding the damage to Iran's nuclear program. They continue this week following U.S. airstrikes on Iran on 3 nuclear facilities. The general director for the International Atomic Energy Agency spoke with Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation this morning, saying the reports of total destruction are overstated.
The capacities they have are there. They can have, in a matter of months, I would say, a few cascades of centrifuges spinning and producing enriched uranium, or less than that. Frankly speaking, one cannot claim that everything has disappeared and there is nothing there. It is clear that there has been severe damage, but it's not total damage, first of all. And secondly, Iran has the capacities there, industrial and technological capacities. So if they so wish, they will be able to start doing this again.
He also says that his agency did not find evidence of a nuclear weapons program in Iran, but that they could not verify that the program was totally peaceful. Well, coming up, Santa Clara County faces accusations of breaking sanctuary policies. Why the Sheriff's Department says they've done nothing wrong. We'll be right back. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office is responding to concerns about a recent ICE arrest outside a local jail. The department is facing accusations it violated its own sanctuary policy. Our Lauren Toms has more.
Raj Jaidab says he was shocked to learn that ICE arrested an undocumented immigrant just seconds after he was released from the Elmwood Correctional Facility in Milpitas. As the coordinator for Silicon Valley advocacy group Debug, he was alerted after the man's wife watched as agents detained her husband outside the facility.
It was a wife who was going to pick up her husband from a release from the jail, and had first-hand accounts of ICE going in the jail, communicating with sheriff staff communicating back, and then essentially escorting the person to ICE detention.
The arrest was one of 4 in the last 3 weeks at the Elmwood Correctional Facility. Raj says the sheriff's deputy's participation in the arrest violates the county's sanctuary city policies that prohibit local authorities from aiding with civil immigration enforcement.
For us, it meant essentially that there are no protections locally, that the dam is broken, or that the level of ICE enforcement has reached such a peak where they're respecting no laws, they're respecting no local policies, and every place in the county is now potentially vulnerable for ICE aggression.
The group argues that ICE agents were given information by the Sheriff's Department regarding the release date for the immigrant. But Santa Clara County Sheriff Robert Johnson says his department never contacted ICE, but instead, when asked, his agency confirmed publicly available information.
We're abiding by all the state laws and the county policies, and we're doing so in a very diligent way, but we're also honoring people's right to know information that's publicly available without impeding or interfering with what they have to do. And again, that's ICE's role and responsibility, is they have specific individuals they're looking for, and as long as they respect our state law and our policy, we're not going to get in their way to doing their job.
He says the department is following its policies regardless of a person's immigration status or who's waiting to pick them up, though he does recognize the heightened tensions.
Anxiety, I think, is definitely present, without question. I think, again, what we're seeing on a national level is obviously in the back of their minds of, having people come up, ask questions. But again, so far, all these interactions have been extremely professional, extremely respectful. They're not asking or inquiring any information that you wouldn't be allowed access to.
But for Raj, he says the responsibility lies on the county to provide more protections for immigrants at risk of arrest, even seconds after their release from local jail.
We need to create new barriers to ensure that our community is protected by the county agencies that are saying that they want to treat people fairly and equally, regardless of their status.
Well, coming up, what this photo means to unlocking the secrets of the universe. Darren?
Coming up in this forecast, we'll track the marine layer's impact on this week. No doubt you noticed it was trying to get a little bit farther onshore this morning. It's going to do a better job of that by midweek. And then it will likely play a role on the 4th of July. But the exact role it will play is in question. Do my best to explain where thinking is right now on our ability to see the fireworks on Friday. Forecast coming up.
Capturing the Cosmos, the VRC Rubin Observatory, built here in the Bay Area, released its first images of the universe. Our Mary Lee has more from the scientists who helped to build it.
We're heading down to the Rubin control room here at SLAC.
Phil Marshall is passionate about uncovering the secrets to our incredible universe. He's the Deputy Director of Operations at Rubin Observatory. Phil has been waiting for years to see this, the very first images from Rubin Observatory's digital camera, capturing the cosmos in a way unlike anything else.
Well, I think I described it as a dream come true. I've been sort of thinking about this for so long. It's kind of amazing that it's here now. On the other hand, this is just the beginning.
You can trace the nature of gravity, actually, from looking at these stars that are...
These sharper, clearer images of our universe are like nothing we've seen before. Millions of galaxies in each snapshot in amazing detail.
Honestly, it's just mind-blowing. It makes me very, very excited about the future of astrophysics. Previously, we've been able to see a lot of the sky, or we've been able to go deep. And what is really different about these images is that it's both. It really is sort of simultaneously a very wide area, so that you can see many, many galaxies, and you can really, start to study galaxies further away than we ever were able to before.
To be able to see the entire sky at that level of sensitivity, that level of spatial detail, and with that time resolution to see how the universe evolves, that's something that's never existed at this scale before.
Here is a live webcam view of the Rubin telescope and how it's parked pointing up at the moment.
We have a chance to talk to researchers at the Rubin Observatory at the telescope in Chile. This is a live feed. Hello, good to see you.
We have to say that we also saw these images for the first time, even though we are looking at the raw images every single day. And it is amazing.
Every night at Rubin Observatory in Chile, the camera will scan the sky, capturing a new 3,200 megapixel image every 40 seconds, providing near real-time valuable data of our universe.
It really makes it clear that the universe is full of galaxies. Our galaxy is full of stars. Our universe is full of galaxies. There's billions of them to be observed, and you can see that in the images now. Each one of those galaxies itself contains billions of stars, and so it's very humbling to see these images. It puts us right in our place, so to speak.
Phil Marshall says these first images are breathtaking and truly awe-inspiring as scientists move one step closer to unlocking the mysteries of our universe.
All right, let's get you caught up on the forecast going into this week. First thing we want to do is talk about how the marine layer is coming back. You'll see that over the next few days. You'll certainly be noticing it out there today, and that's a time lapse of the last few hours. It's going to overtake the city here within the next couple of hours. But real quickly, this is going to be a factor in our lives for the whole week, meaning on the 4th of July, we're going to have to start thinking about the possibility here that the clouds once again play a role. I hate to put it this way in the forecast, but the odds right now are 50-50. It's too early. We know that there's going to be a system coming through here on Friday that could do one of two things. It could either deepen the marine layer, or it could scour the whole thing away. I hate to have to say that, but it is a 50-50 chance. And to be 6 days out, that's all you would ever really be able to do with a marine layer forecast anyway. We're much better forecasting the marine layer within that 24, 36-hour time frame. So that'll give us enough time. Check in like Wednesday night through Thursday, and we'll have a better beat on what the marine layer is going to do on the 4th of July. Let me show you what it's going to do on Monday. So it won't really build in that far. That's about as far inland as it's going to get on Monday. And then it'll melt back. You'll actually have plenty of sunshine throughout the day on Monday. Let me show you what the daytime highs will feel like as a result of that. And we'll get the color contours on here now for tomorrow. Show you what the daytime highs are. They're a little bit cooler than you were today. And then we'll just sit here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are identical. And then on Friday, when that area of low pressure comes through, that will either deepen the marine layer, making the clouds thicker, or scour them all away. It will cool us down. Friday's going to be cooler as a result. You'll see what that looks like in the 7-day forecast. So let's just get straight into that. Here's your 7-day forecast. We'll say goodbye to the map. And we'll take a look at the inland microclimate first. All days look similar except Friday. You see the difference there. Check it out. There's a cool down that shows up by the time we get there. And at this point, an increase in clouds. So we'll see how it goes. And then by the weekend, next weekend, after 4th of July, if you're making it a long weekend, got a great one coming our way. That's Saturday and Sunday. Here's the forecast for the Bay. And of course, this is really where the marine layer would play a bigger role. That cloudy terrarium for Friday for the inland microclimate was likely morning, maybe early afternoon. I doubt the marine layer, even if it does rebuild, will be able to get inland fireworks displays. But it's a very real possibility it does get the Pier 39 show. More on that as we get closer to it. All right, Andrea, back to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Up next, we're introducing you to these drag queens who are on a roll. This Pride Month, we're highlighting a really unique drag show that's quickly gaining traction here in the Bay Area. Our Itai Hod has more.
On the edge of Oakland, right by the bay, something fabulous is afoot. Drag queens, those glittering stars of the late night stage, have rolled out of the dark and into the park. They've swapped the spotlight for the sunlight, the velvet rope for a view of the bay, and high heels for 4 wheels. The result? Rolling with the Homos, a monthly drag skate party right on the waterfront.
Welcome!
Today's ringleader of this rolling rainbow is a queen named Angel Food Cakes, which might explain why everyone here is eating it up.
I think it's a mixture of people love watching skaters. You know, they love seeing somebody doing something so kind of unusual, and it can be beautiful, but it can also be silly.
What began as a scrappy sidewalk performance quickly gained traction, turning into a highly popular monthly show.
Anybody want to throw in a dollar or two?
Co-founder Nikki J says there was no script, just skates, rhinestones, and a whole lot of heart.
Most drag performers were out at the clubs, and it's late night, and it's, not all ages, and this is a way that we can connect with our community.
And it's all happening as the ACLU reports over 570 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced nationwide this year. More than 50 have already been signed into law, most targeting trans Americans. That mix of spectacle and sanctuary is what draws 16-year-old Cora McSkimming. She can't get into the clubs just yet, but here she can skate alongside the queens she admires.
I think it's about the community. It's a celebration of queer joy.
Speaking of joy, this is Joy Clinard, whose dad Drew says she's been attending since she was in diapers.
She loves drag queens. So we've been coming here since she was 2, and she thinks these are celebrity level, as good as it gets, drag queens.
Putting a different spin on skating and giving a whole new meaning to the phrase role model.
They're out at the Township Commons in Oakland every 4th Sunday of the month. It's free. All you need is a pair of skates and a little attitude. Well, thank you so much for watching. 60 Minutes is coming up next, and we will see you back here at 11, where we will have FBI and security expert Jeff Harp. He will join us at 11 with more on what is going on in western Idaho, as a gunman has apparently opened fire when killing 2 people. Details are still coming in, but we will follow this story and make sure we bring you the latest tonight at 11. Good night.